Greetings one and all, Runoff Tales here, bringing you quite a different game that I usually play off the roster. It's very similar, a strategy game as I usually play, and the game, as you can see here by the title, it's called Tooth and Tail, which is a indie strategy game made by Pocket Watch Games back in September, and I've kind of had my own eye on it, on and off. I thought it was very interesting to see, and since Steam currently, at the time of this recording, by the time the recording's over, the game will not be free, but I thought it would be very interesting to see how the game works, and how it's very different than other strategy games I've played before. I played a little bit of it beforehand, and we'll be going over it and looking at it from the campaign perspective, and we'll see how good the game is, or how interesting and unique it is anyway. It does define itself as a casual strategy game, and you'll certainly see why once moving forward.
I told my son, we won't work the farms, no. We won't eat the food of beasts. We'll eat meat, as any civilized animal does. But when the civilized called a harvest, and the city feasted on my boy, we took to the warrens and lit the country aflame. Who decides the fate of animals? The longcoats? The common folk? The KSR? Or the civilized? Whoever triumphs will go hungry no more. Those who fall will be dinner.
So here we are in the first mission of the campaign, and as you can see by the video beforehand, it does seem to take place in a type of Russian Revolution type of setting, where people try to vie for control of different factions as you saw before. And so what makes this game a lot different than a lot of others that I've seen is that instead of, trying to control lots of different units, simply, trying to grab, left click and right click on different ones, you end up controlling one character, and with that you can be able to rally troops towards you and move them around. And that's what makes it very unique and very simplistic a sort of way in order to, well, play the game itself. So by trying to focus on one character, you're not really, well, trying to operate or manage that much stuff, as you can see. Of course, you do end up making buildings and controlling units, rallying, but you have to be very strategic in the way you use your units. So you kind of create large hordes of animals that follow you around, and using those, you're supposed to defeat enemy gristmills, or windmills anyway, and they will obviously make it so that you beat the enemy. It's very simplistic in its nature. Anyway, as you can see, it's not really that many, I would say, cute animals that you're trying to use to kill the enemy. But in the same token, the style is very unique because you're kind of just using animals to kill one another and trying to reach the top of the food chain with your faction. And so here we go, that's the ENOGH gristmill, and you end up destroying it. And so from there, that's how you defeat your enemies. And the story, I believe that's in the game, is that the Longcoats, this guy's son, this, larger than life mouse that, is somehow larger than the other animals in this universe. His son got eaten by a harvest, and so he decides to rebel in the country, and with 3 other factions besides his, try to vie for power in order to remain in control of the country and obviously try to determine who's on top of the food chain. I say it's a very Russian Revolution type of vibe to it. trying to determine who's on top, but I wouldn't say exactly that. I'd say the timepiece certainly enacts it, but it's hard to say. But it certainly resembles it, doesn't it? Anyway, we talk to this ferret over here, and he'll give us our next mission. Hey, boss, we're doing just like you said, planning for the long haul. Turns out after a little stunt in the bone pits, Archimedes reached out to his old comrades in the KSR. Now he's got gristmills churning out meat in the Black Sledge, and the Coolmaster's got her KSR goons keeping watch. The civilized are building up their larders, raising an army. But we have a surprise for them, yes? Just like I said, boss, we got tunnels running all the way out there. We'll take out the civilized gristmills and be back in here for Cheskers. And so that leads us to our next mission, which is to build 8 warrens, which are just buildings, and destroy the enemy team's gristmills. And so here's the cute little animals that you control. And from here you can see that we have squirrels with revolvers and alcohol, who are going to come into battle fueled by fermented acorn courage, which is I suppose is a good way to go. And then the Freight Union, who is our artillery unit that we end up using, which don't really give warranty on state of goods upon shipments. So it's not really a good post to not rely on. And as you can see, the Distillery Brothers that we use as a unit are very, I guess, throwaway is a good term to use. They kind of just die very quickly. That's being squirrels. But let's continue on with the mission. And so here we have a bunch of units, or a bunch of gristmills, a gristmill that we end up having. And so we're going to build a few warrens, and this will build up squirrels that we will end up using as units. And so our economy mainly rests on these things called gristmills, which gives us basically food in order to supply our army. And so using this food will end up supposedly giving us more units, and we will raise these units to a banner. Of course, there's only a certain amount of units we can get from each warren, so you can't really just spam out units, or you can keep a decent supply of these troops. And so the squirrel gives us 3 for each warren, and 2 Freight Union troops from one warren themselves. And so let's build up a small force. We'll keep 3 warrens here, 2 of the Freight Union ones over here. And let's go on the offensive and try to find where the enemy is. You can also rally certain units, as you see by the tutorial. So if I just want to rally the squirrels and have them selected here at the bottom, I can left click here, bring them across to this area, while the freight units can go over here and try to eliminate these extra 45 positions. Let's make a few more squirrel units, and then we can rally everyone, right clicking to limit his force here. So we built our 8 warrens for the achievement, and we'll destroy the enemy gristmill, completing the is that complete mission. I suppose it'll look a bit more. There you go, with our significant force, we're able to really, we can just focus on destroying the gristmill, and we win. Of course, the tutorial mission is going to be a lot easier than other missions. And so, let's continue on to the next mission. I'll show what the game also shows you. Hey boss, well, we have a bit of a problem. Yeah, what kind of problem? Some of my brothers are working in the mills down by the docks, see. They mentioned that seeing a yellow cloak or 2, but I thought nothing of it. Now we're not getting any reports back from the docks. I think the civilized are making their move. Then, so too, the longcoats, pair of bullet hives who must defend the docks. So Bellified, the guy here, is continuing the riots, and since he needs food to continue the riots, we're going to be defending the docks. So we must defend our grain supply to continue the fight. And so over here we have 2 grist mills that we need to defend. And so we need to build a few bullet hives, which are defensive positions, defensive structures that we need to use in order to keep our farms from being destroyed. Suppose we'll go and defend the center as best we can. They seem to be really attacking from one position. Let's build another over here. And there we go, simple enough mission. We kind of really... I kind of overdid it a bit with the bullet hives. So let's go and see what this giant guy has to say. This giant ball. Got a new idea for main course. Better far enough to clear our plates. When the civilized built the gristmills outside the city, they did so on my family's land. My brother thinks it's time we took her back, pay him well, and will burn the civilized gristmills to ash. This coup is nearly over. There's no coup. I don't care who stands atop of the end. The Longcoats will seize power. That seems the natural consequence of revolution. But what I want most is to see Archimedes kicking and screaming as he's dragged atop the Longcoats' feasting table. So I think this mission will highlight more of the actual game by building lots of gristmills. And so we have this other unit called Uncle Butter, and before the war he was known as the country's greatest gourmand. Uncle Butter still cooks his meat, but he no longer kills his prey first. And so we use a flamethrower type of unit for the next attack. And so I think on this mission we have more of a mercenary type of unit. Now we can recruit some people to follow us. Oh, I think I actually recruited a squirrel. That's okay. As long as we get enough money, should be able to recruit all these people here and just use them to defeat our enemy. I think for now actually we could just recruit another gristmill. There we go. And so this is what the game is kind of really like. It's probably meant a lot for multiplayer games, I would assume. But it seems like the type of game that you would find simple enjoyment for. Especially if you're really not looking to find something that's too complex, but something that you still want to have fun with in a strategy game. Regardless though, it seems like the game does have it so that your farms will eventually run out of, well, supply. So you can't just keep spamming out one economy after the next. And you always have to expand the gristmill, because these fields will eventually run out of food. So when we got an economy going, we'll use our mercenaries to take a few gristmills for us. And so with 3 gristmills, and with more on the way, should be able to take the upper hand on a few enemies. It does also look like we're going to have to build a few more actual barrows. There we go, now since we have a few more barrows, should be able to make a small army in order to take out the enemy. And there we go. Easy peasy. Swine 423, I've seen you take an interest in art. Does it relax you? Perhaps it helps to marble the belly region. Oh yes. Pardon my asking, but do you know when 419 will return? I'll have to check the ledger, but I believe 419 was me in Black Sledge. Oh, was he... I'm sorry, but was he above the gristmill or below? I don't know his assignment, Swine, nor do I care, but I was a bit busy at the time. Oh, that's a bit disheartening. It does seem that the pigs in the region, on the country, are kind of at the bottom of the food chain, which is a bit sad. See, we do have another mission from this fellow over here. Bellified, I must thank you for treating my family so well. How did you learn to pronounce my name, Swine? I'm a breeder. I've seen many generations pass through harvest. Who told you about harvest? One of the engineers? ENOGH? Oh no, but you'll be surprised what beasts say around us. Just the other day, some of your friends were speaking about mutiny. Mutiny? By whom? Speak, Swine. Why, the distillery brothers, of course. Some were starving to death, so they'd gone to break into your meat storage in the guts. How do you know about meat storage? Just whispers, Bellified. Well, the strategy cannot go unpunished. The distillery brothers have much to answer for. If it's a feast the traders want, then we'll see them all choked before the end. So it seems now we actually have to fight our own group of people. Our own distillery brothers. Despite the fact that we do spawn them ourselves. But we do have this other unit called Engineers for Hire. Now use moles to destroy other buildings, it seems. Let's see. So we have turrets that we should probably sell. Let's see, probably should not sell the ones at the far end. I think that should be enough to get an economy going. So while we have these bullet hives here, we'll try to keep an economy on the go. And from there, well, they're making units and see if we can go on the offensive. So unfortunately, while we do have units that we can spawn, we can't really make bullet hives, so we have to be a bit generous on what we end up selling and not selling. But we're almost done making the economy going. So any unit that we make from now on will be straight off to the war effort. Oh, it seems like our bullet hives are starting to die, so we're probably going to have to go on the offensive somewhere. It does also look like the engineers are kind of a one-time use only. So they don't actually make barrows for them, but they just spawn instantly instead. Spawn in a one-time use. So we'll go on the offensive here. We're not doing so well. Let's see if we can actually take out that other gristmill. Oh! Unfortunately we didn't take out the gristmill, but we still did complete the mission, which is good. What are you still doing, engineer? I have no meat left to pay you. Engineer will work on spec, cannot leave work unfinished. It's unprofessional. Engineer must think about future clients and reputation. Oh. So it does seem like the long code's not actually doing that well in this revolution. I still can't believe my brother's turned on us, boss. I thought I knew him, you know? Loyalty's at a premium these days, it seems. I hope the love on Orn might have allayed the greed. Don't worry, boss. The rest of my brothers and me, we still fight for ya. And I'll still pay you, eventually. Yeah, it doesn't really seem like the long codes are doing that well. As a revolution, they're not really financed. As a revolution, they're not really financed properly, it seems. Psst, furball. What? Who let the common folk into a weapons cache? This area is long coats only. Ha! That includes you, Fleabag. All that blood on your nice blue coat, it's hard to tell. Vash! Unk! Get in here. They do not come. Vermin command no respect, no meat, no long coats. Might as well be common folk. Watch your tongue, trenchmen. I'm just as capable as any of my troops. No, you're weak. But good for you that Archimedes is weaker. His supplies go to ground and the ends. Why are you telling me this? You're here on another's orders. When you stain your garments with the blood of the civilized, you look no different than the common folk. I know someone, Fleabag, someone who could help you rebuild your army. What do you say? With his army in shambles, Bellified flees to the desert in a desperate attempt to forge the lines of the common folk, find Hopper, then eliminate Archimedes and his civilized army. So we destroy enemy gristmills and we can win without building structures as a heroic mission. Interesting. So let's see if we can actually win without building any structures, it seems. And we have to find Hopper, since she'll be at a red gristmill somewhere in the Sandstorm. Now it could be harder than you... well, I don't know how hard it would be. It's a fairly small map actually. Nope. Oh hey, who goes there? Moment, Hopper, require your assistance. Apparently she has a lot more equipment than I do. We'll see if our AI buddy will take care of us. We'll probably have to get unique in how we use these units. I don't think making farms is building a structure, but we'll recruit just a bunch of units. Oh, and it seems like our ally is actually going to make a few units here. I wonder if we can actually team up with these forces. It seems like we have a sizable enough army. And we are losing all the squirrels, but I think that should do it. Oh. Turns out I didn't do so well. Unfortunately, it seems like my ally is a bit harder to find this time around. Oh, there we go. So it seems like our community's forces are down over here in the south. Suppose it's not the best thing to see, but I think if we recruit Uncle Butters, I think that should be able to destroy the forces. If we attack early enough, we may be able to beat them. Let's see. It's a bit cheap, but I did lose last time, so I think we should be able to knock out the enemy. Not the most sizable army, but we are slowly getting there. Oh. So we have a bit more sizable army, and hopefully this will be enough to take out the enemy. And there we go. Aha! And we did without building any structures. Now we're playing as the common folk, it seems. So who goes there? It is I, Hopper, come to free the... Ha! Shut your muzzle, Hopper. Glad to see you back in the skirts. KSR giving you in trouble. No burden every day. How's food? Oh good, never good. Running low on meat. Back to beast food after that. Let's see what I can do. Say hey to the Madrig for me. Will do. Common folk don't do army. So now it seems like we're playing as a common folk, which is really interesting. And from the Longcoats, now it seems like we're playing as the common folk. But I think from here, we're going to call it apart. I think this game is really interesting, definitely in its art style and its atmosphere. It's definitely a wonderful game. I definitely like the uniqueness it has when controlling a map using only one person. I think it's very unique with its way it interprets it. I do have to say, I just really love the atmosphere and definitely the way the game is. As you can look at it, the world, it looks really well done, I have to say. I really like it. But regardless though, I think I'm going to call it apart from here. So I really hope you liked the video as much as I like to play in this game, and I'll see you in the next video. See you then.